Hello and welcome back to the Self-Actualization in the Age of Crisis Chapter Summary Series. I'm your host, Ron Rivers, and today we're going to be discussing Chapter 3, Security and Soldier, subsection, Soldiers and the Civic Core. So reshaping military industry brings with it the responsibility to reshape military and the participation of our soldiers. In many ways, when we remove the profit incentive from war, we're going to see a significant drop in war. And to that end, it leaves a gap in where soldiers direct their focus and energy within the immediate present. So our reimagination of being a soldier within a civic core is to really amplify and extend the best parts about the military, while at the same time decoupling them from the aspects of violence and death so deeply rooted into their function. I also want to emphasize, when we talk about soldiers, we have to decouple and kind of separate the will and intent of the soldier from the larger superstructure they are bound to, right? The military itself. People enter the military for a lot of reasons. Escape, right? It's a way to escape the birth lottery. It's a means of financing your education and getting a kind of a head start and a network. Or some are just really motivated by the ability to kind of contribute to something greater than themselves. And in many ways, I have a deep respect for the soldiers who enter the service, because I understand that they are really giving themselves up for an ideal that is kind of larger than their existing existence. Now, it's no fault of theirs that the politicos running the country will send them into endless, pointless wars based on lies and for the acquisition of resources. But I want to emphasize that from the start. This is not a critique of the individual soldier. This is a critique of the superstructures that they inhabit and how they align with the single truth and relational universe. There are many roles that soldiers play in our immediate present, which could be extended in our reimagination of the military and the role of the soldier. Infrastructure support, emergency response, natural disaster relief, providing aid to people who are hurt. I mean, the list goes on. The military has many positive functions that benefit collective society outside of violence. These are skills that are going to not only be important, but probably even more important as we descend into the crisis of extinction. The military also provides a really unique training ground, right? It fosters camaraderie, it fosters a sense of brotherhood and sisterhood. So it allows people to kind of bond with others who are typically outside of their spheres of influence and gain new perspectives and insights into the nature of being human. In many ways, our spiritual project of systemic actualization serves to close the gap between why many individuals might leap into the military because they have no alternatives, right? Systemic actualization provides this floor of alternatives where they don't have to turn to an organization that is primarily bent on fighting for-profit wars to kind of have the means to have access and agency in their life. Now, self-actualization in the age of crisis is as much a spiritual philosophy as it is a responsibility, as I've kind of emphasized throughout the text. It demands more of us. So in many ways, civic cores are a framework and a way that we can implement a greater civic participation in a wide variety of directions. So we can conceptualize the civic core as essentially a branch of the military. So I'm not arguing that we'll be able to eliminate all of the violent aspects of the military, right? Especially the defense aspects, at least not in the immediate present. But what we can do is provide an opportunity and trajectories where the people entering the military in this kind of civic core are really kind of have the choice to, okay, I'm going to do this military training, or I'm going to choose a non-violent path. So I'm only going to be an engineer, I'm only going to be a doctor, etc., and kind of get that training and be distributed amongst the globe to kind of serve where those needs are needed. In many ways, a civic core partners with reimagined economic arrangements to develop a system of transaction that does not need unemployment, like our present system has unemployment baked into it. It's part of it. We could leverage a system of full employment where you leverage a civic core. So when private employment is, let's say, low, more people enter the public civic core sector. When private employment is high, the civic core shrinks. It's less expansive because less people want to be in it. They want to experiment in their own ways in the private sector. So the civic core not only supports a reimagination of the military, but it also provides a really robust foundation for reimagined economic arrangements. We could even imagine a Civic core having a DAO component of it, where all the participants are stakeholders, and reputation can be tokenized over time to really begin their journey from the start and really create a real ID, a real functional proof of reputation and value within the immediate present. Now, I want to emphasize the most important thing we can do to transform the military is spread the spiritual philosophy of the single truth and relational universe. Because as an individual who embraces these values, who understands the nature of reality, you're just not going to participate in these institutions that are proactively violent for profit. There's just going to be a moral line that you will draw because it's so deeply in conflict with your core values. And to that end, I want to recognize our present arrangements diminish the dignity and divinity of the individual soldier. Our effort to transform what being a soldier is really ultimately rooted in love for another, in the understanding that they are us.